Today I'm going to show you how to make a piece of bread out of polymer clay with minimal supplies. A lot of people think that when you start doing any new type of hobby or craft that you need to get a lot of supplies, and a lot of times that's not true. So I want to show you how to do this, and you can use it for your dollhouse or stick an eye pin in it and make it into a necklace. But I want to show you with just a few things how you can make really cool things. Essential are chalks. You can buy a big container of these. This is actually 2 containers that I have in this bucket, but they're about $5 at Michael's, and you can use your 50% off coupon and get it for $2.50. And if you have a good variety of pastel chalks, you can make just about anything because you can shade almost all of your clays. The next thing that I have are the polymer clays. Sculpey is definitely the cheapest clay. I can get those on sale at one of the craft stores for $1 and then use coupons a lot of times. But Sculpey is extremely soft for me to use. My hands are always very hot, so I heat that clay up quickly, and I've recently switched over to Fimo because it is harder, which means that it takes a lot longer to work it and blend the clay, but I'm much happier with it. The detail holds much better. It doesn't get distorted when you try to pick it up, and it is more expensive. It's about $2.69 a brick, and the best sale that I can get for them is about 30% off. So when I have a 30% off sale, I do stock up on them, but for this particular mini, you only need 3 bricks. So you are going to need some brown, and this is only a fraction of the Fimo brick. You're going to need some cream, and you're going to need some yellow. So the proportions to make the bread color are 3, 2, 1. And if you're on an even tighter budget, you can just get white Fimo and color it with the chalk pastels. I've done that before and it's fine. This way I only have to really shade them in once into the more cooked areas, where with the white you'll have to shade the entire thing, which really isn't a big deal. But because I have the clays and I don't have a very tight budget, I'm able to expand that out. I do opt to use the different colors. So when you blend all of these together, I suggest blending them in smaller pieces, maybe chopping them up and things. It will break apart in the pasta machine if you have a pasta machine, but it definitely is going to take some work. There's nothing wrong with your clay. It takes some work. This took me about 5 minutes to blend. So as you can see, this is really tough still. I'm really squeezing this, and that's exactly what we want. So after you blend this together, this one will make quite a few pieces of bread. So if you don't want to make that many, you don't have to. What I'm going to do after I get those together, I'm just going to cut a piece off, a small piece. It's even bigger than what I need. And I'm just going to roll it into a little ball. And then I'm going to roll it out long ways, just pressing on each side until I get the shape of a piece of bread. And then I'm just going to shape it a little bit. I've seen a lot of polymer clay artists use expensive tools, and I've seen a lot of polymer clay artists use only household items. So it's absolutely possible to do polymer clay with just clay and chalks and a little toaster oven. But if you're a thrifty shopper, you can look around and get one, maybe at Goodwill. That's where I got mine for $8. And it's been holding strong for over a year now. I don't have any problems with it. So I would definitely look into that if you're serious about polymer clay. It's a lot of controversy of if it should be in its own oven or if you can cook it in your regular oven that you use for your family food. So that's up to you. Just do your research. I can't bring my oven to my craft room, so that's why I have a little toaster oven. Okay, so once you get that rolled out, what you're going to do is take a little piece of foil or a toothbrush. I'm going to use a toothbrush today, and you're just going to tap to give a little bit of texture. You don't want to over tap. I love the toothbrush because it gets so much so fast, but if you just tap in a straight line, the toothbrush will make holes in a straight line. So you don't want that. You want them to be random. And you can kind of shape your corners here at this point. Just round those little edges there. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. And then what I'm going to do is take a little toothpick, and I'm just going to put the marks from the bread. Remember, that's the bread that we're going to make. So I'm just going to indent just a little bit. And again, and again. And I've made really long ones, so you put a lot more dents in there. And if it loses its shape, if you press too hard, just shape it back in again. This one's a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and that's fine. And I'll give it a little bit of texture again on top. And then what you want to do is take your pastel chalks, and I like to, some people use a dry brush, and that's fine. You can just go on one end and put it on, and then once you bake it, it will stay, but you really need to seal it after you do that. So what I like to do is just take a little bit of water, get my brush wet. You see, I have one side of my chalk that I use as wet and one as dry. So these are almost like watercolor chalks now. And I'm just going to give a little bit of shading. To where this bread would be cooked a little bit more. You know, bread isn't the same color all the way around. Give the sides a little bit. And then I'm going to take the darker chalk, again using the side that I use for colors. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but right about here you can see my water line where I use this side as water and that side as dry. And just play around with them and you'll see when you want it dry and when you want it wet. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of flour on the top of my breads, and that I definitely want dry. What I like to do for those, I just keep some chalk in a little container that I used my razor blade and just ground up, and then I just take that and sprinkle it over. So I got the edges, I got the little creases here, and if you put it in the wrong spot, just go back with your lighter one and blend it in. I didn't like the way that was looking there. So that's all you do, and then you put it in the toaster oven or your oven, whatever you're going to use. Bake it according to the package directions, and when it comes out, you'll have a piece like this, and it's nice and hard. You don't have to worry about it breaking or bending. If it comes out and it's pliable after it cools, if it's really, really flexible, then it needs to go back in for longer. Polymer clay can be a little bit funny like that. If you think that you've baked it long enough but it's still a little flexible like plastic, then just stick it back in for a couple more minutes and see what happens, because sometimes it will really strengthen it up, and that's what you want, especially if you're going to be wearing it or if you're giving it to somebody for a dollhouse and they're actually going to be using it frequently. Then you want to make sure that it's not going to break on them. Alright, so there you go, a piece of bread. If you have any questions, leave it down below in the comment box. If there's anything you want to see me make, let me know. Leave a comment down there and I'll get some videos up for you. Thanks!